one of the biggest things that I loved about my time at One was probably just the environment. You're on first name terms with your tutors, everything's very formal but casual.
I would say the freedom that I had and everyone else in the course had and stuff at One to really pick what niche and what things you'd like to do for your assignments.
I enjoyed many things about studying at One. I think one of them being, before I even came to Suffolk One, was I wasn't really an academic kid at all. I wasn't good at English, maths or science, but one thing I loved doing was the sort of filming and media and film, and the place that I sort of grew up and the place that I went to school wasn't really sort of pushing for anything creative or anything digital like that.
The thing I enjoyed most about studying at One was the trust the teachers had in me to explore lots of creative opportunities. As well as the things we were covering in the curriculum, I also found lots of support from the teachers in areas outside of the classroom, whether that be things like making YouTube videos in my spare time or taking on some small filming jobs in the local area.
The course itself gave me a really good basis for my knowledge, and I still use the things I learned on my course today and within my videography. The time I spent at Suffolk One was amazing because I got to collaborate with so many people on the course. The tutors were really great and they give you the space to make your own decisions. They're there to advise you, but at the same time, it's always up to you and about shaping your creative vision.
And it's not just your assignments that you're doing, it's things like putting your work into real world practice. That was something for me that was quite important to try and find what I liked and what I was good at, and try to like fuse the two essentially and try and do those things. And I felt like in the environment that we had, it was very fun, but very productive at the same time.
Moving to Suffolk One and being in that environment where you're sort of working with like-minded creatives, pushing to tell stories in some sort of format and some sort of way, for me was just so much more refreshing. And it was an experience that I'd never been in before, sort of having these other people around you also wanting to sort of create content, and it just sports such a collaborative environment.
My time at Suffolk One was crucial in me becoming the creative I am today. Not only were the technical skills and the knowledge about digital media in general crucial to me building that foundation, it was also the network of people and the tutors that I found that really helped shape me. And the tutors are amazing. They will give you the drive to push yourself beyond what you think your personal boundaries are so that you can achieve some of your greatest work. It's a really inspiring course to be around and group of people to see grow. It's a very inspiring place to be.
Apart from all of those like technical skills that you gain from working with that kind of equipment, one of the biggest things that I learned at One was how to work in a professional environment. You're working with friends and you're doing projects and stuff. And the tutors really help you with that. Working with friends can always be a bit of a difficult one, but one of the biggest things that I learned through my time there is how to keep professional and how to be in that kind of environment, that kind of work environment. It is like it's more like a work environment than an education environment, and I think that is one of the biggest skills that you can learn, you can take through and take it into anything you go on to do.
I found that all of the members of staff specialising in their own fields made it feel like you were in really good hands if you needed to turn to someone with something quite specific.
What I also found really great about the course was the ability to book out equipment. I found that really useful when I was going out and doing projects whilst I was still in college. I had enough free time to go and make outside work whilst I was still in the course itself. I got to work with clients and produce my own videography work for my portfolio, whilst also building a network with my colleagues around me in the course too.
The most useful thing that I learned was to trust in your own skills, know what you're good at, know what you're not good at, and go outside of your comfort zone. So if you have a niche that you're interested in, something like I'm interested in motorsports, all sports, particularly Formula One and racing, but if you have a hobby, something like maybe fashion or anything like that, any hobby, try and see how you can fuse that passion with media and try and put something together.
I also had a lot of freedom, I think, with things that I wanted to create. The work that I produced in my my assignments was very much reflect who I was as a person, rather than most academic subjects is like right or wrong, this or that. For me, doing these creative courses and these assignments allow me to put a bit of myself into my work.
Not only did my time on the digital media course teach me about filmmaking and videography, it also gave me experience using Adobe InDesign, Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, which meant I was able to take on other projects such as social media marketing on the side as well, which has really opened up new doors for me and built my network even more, as well as meaning I have another skill and job role that I could go into in the future.
As you might see behind us, I'm here in the QC suite at Ravensbourne University, London. So after my time at One, I applied for university. I originally wanted to go on to do television production here at Ravensbourne, and I did that for a year and I very much enjoyed it. But I found that the engineering element was more what I wanted to get into. So I swapped over to the broadcast engineering Bachelor of Science degree, and I'm now finishing off my third year of doing that, and it's been great fun, learned so much. And as you can see here, the facilities here at Ravensbourne are great. We're in our basically MCR or master control room, which is where we monitor and control the output from the building and all of the sources and monitor it for quality and things like that.
I'm studying sports broadcasting in UCFB Wembley, which is based inside Wembley Stadium. That's kind of university work has really taken a backseat, to be quite honest. I'm really focusing on my career and how I'm freelancing for different people. Now, when I did the racing documentary series in 2018, that came to a close at Silverstone in December 2018. I thought that was it. And Sebastian, the protagonist, the guy who won, he won a competition in January 2019 to go to the Race of Champions in Mexico City. I was asked whether I would like to go to Mexico and make an extra video as an extra bonus episode in my Racer series. Of course I said yes, although I'd never flown before, I'd never been outside of Europe. And after that video, that link got sent by the people I was working with at the Race of Champions to Getty Images, who are one of the biggest, or probably the biggest, photo, videography, licensing agencies in terms of sport, news, editorial, all this. And within 2 weeks of me receiving an email from them saying they'd seen my video, I was freelancing for them. So I'm doing that, as well as small client jobs. Like I just started working with estate agents in the Essex area, doing loads of drone videos, walkthrough videos. I've now got my drone license, which I would encourage you to do if you're interested.
Currently, I'm in my final year at university. I'm studying film production. I'm making films constantly. I've been making documentaries, narrative films, which have been screened internationally in film festivals across the world, which has been absolutely mind-blowing. I recently completed a BBC commissioned documentary for the BBC New Creatives team called These Lines That Divide Us, and that should be on BBC 4 in 2021, coming up later this year. So that's really, really exciting as well.
I'm currently a freelance videographer as well as a student, and I've recently just finished directing my third year grad film titled Looking for Jane Doe. On the side, I also work part-time with The Cusp for creating social media PR content that goes on Instagram. So if you want to check them out, it's at The Cusp, and if you want to check me out, it's at Kieran Jones on Instagram.
And what am I doing now? I work for a visual effects company based in London called The Mill. I started off there as an apprentice immediately after I finished college, and then 18 months in, when I finished the apprenticeship, they offered me a full-time contract, which was very nice. I've now been there just under 4 years, and in that time I've had the opportunity to work on some really cool projects. My favourite one for me personally, because I'm a massive Harry Potter nerd, is we did the live-action trailers for the Wizards Unite launch. Alongside the launch of the game, Warner Brothers released a 3-minute short film to promote the whole thing, and it was really fun. I spent about 6 weeks doing all of the magic effects and compositing things like CG creatures for the Dementors. That was a couple of years ago. Some stuff that I've done a bit more recently was the Apex Legends Season 5 trailer. I was one of the compositors for that on the animated trailers, which was a really fun opportunity.
One of the biggest things that I learned wasn't anything technical about how to work a camera or how to use an editing software. It was more on how to be a good person, and I think being a people person, being in a collaborative environment where you're working as a team, constantly communicating with each other, was one of the biggest lessons that I learned.
If I can do it, you can certainly do it, and hopefully my answers have helped you or inspired you in some way.
I'm really happy in the job that I've ended up in, and I know that my 2 years at One played a really big part in getting me to where I am now.
If you're a good person, if you're likeable and you're approachable and you can communicate well and you work well as a team, because that's all the creative industry is constantly working for a team.
My time at Suffolk One was very much enjoyable, and I really wish I could do it again.
And finally, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all of the tutors at One and all of the technicians and everyone behind the scenes and admin stuff as well. They really do all work together to make the experience fantastic. Everything that you guys have taught me, I've taken on and used in my life, and it's been such a fantastic learning experience for me. So thank you so much to all of you.